welcome to another one of our planning sessions. I am going to take you through everything that we are doing next week. I have touched on some of these things, but I haven't done like a deep dive into them. So I just wanted to come on and plan live with you on how we homeschool with our curriculum for all of our subjects. So I'm going to share my processes, and I'm going to also share with you all of the resources that I use to plan throughout the week. So I always start with reading. And if you've been following along, last week we done compare and contrast, and it was a lax week. In the summer, we're doing homeschool, but then we're not doing homeschool at at the same time. So we did not finish all of those activities. So this week I'm going to go into this week finishing those activities, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to move on. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And we're going to start with reading. Okay. So for reading, we were working on compare and contrast. I'm going to go to that tab. So we have different levels. This is what we're going to be doing. We started with third grade, and we're going to use this particular guide that's going to take us all the way through eighth grade. So this is not a curriculum. It shows you how to teach the skills and how you can adapt them to anything you're doing. It can be to any book, experience, a movie, TV show, whatever it is, conversation. So this is what we use to plan all of our lessons. And this one document is going to take me all the way through eighth grade before she enters those high school grades. So it's divided by 3 sections that have basic, build, and meaning. So these 3 different categories cover all of the level of which the skills need to be taught to. So this week we worked on basic. We were just finding similar and different things between just different things around the house, different movies, different whatever it is that we touched. If you planned with us last week, you got to see some of our activities that we use. But we're going to be moving into the build stage, which is going to build on that. So again, some of our activities were, we did the SART cards, we did the Venn diagram walk, we did the family compare game. And this week, now we're going to, instead of just talking about how they're like and how they are similar, we're going to do a deeper dive and comparing how the story showed the same idea differently. So we're going to go beyond the surface level, and we're going to analyze how the authors express similar themes and ideas in unique ways. So we're still staying on compare and contrast. We're not just going to move on. Skills are not taught in isolation. So we are still touching story elements. We're still touching theme. We're all of the other things that we taught, but the skill that I truly want her to learn is how to compare and contrast all of these different things. And it's not just about talking about how this is alike and how this is different. This is going to help to build her to be a stronger reader by showing her how to connect different relationships and different events and different ideas and stuff like that. So this week we're going to be moving into building on that compare and contrast. We're going to finish off last week and move into this week. And some of the activities we're going to do theme detective. We're going to do real life parallels. We're going to compare, and we're going to create. We're going to be using movies. We're going to be using stories and all of those different things. So in reading, that's what we're going to do. That's the activities. That's the skill we're going to focus on. And then we're going to also do read alouds. I shared with you guys that we are reading the Vanderbeeker series. So we're also going to do read alouds. She went from book 1. Now we're moving into book 2. We actually had to backtrack into book 1 when I started asking, because at first, before I was doing the read alouds, she was just reading on her own. So when I asked her what happened in the book or what's going on, she's only able to tell me like little bits and pieces. So we backtracked to book 1, where I'm reading half of the chapter, she's reading the other half of the chapter, and we are having those detailed discussions because I really want her to be able to comprehend what she is actually reading. So her listening to me read, I am modeling what that looks like. I'm modeling what that sounds like. And I'm stepping in, I'm asking questions connected to the skill that we're working on, but also to other things. So we have our read alouds as well. And that's what we're going to be doing in reading. So now we're going to move on to writing. So our writing connects to whatever we're doing for reading. So I wanted to share with you, let me go ahead and share my screen on how I created my writing prompt. Make sure we have the right screen. Hold on, let me share again. So this is my writing guide. It aligns with the reading. Again, it is not curriculum because it connects to whatever you are doing at home. So we are working on compare and contrast, but I want to go through the process on how I built my writing prompt. All right, we start with the skill. Our skill was compare and contrast. This is last week's writing. We talked about it. She was comparing similarities and differences in the movie Matilda and the book The Vanderbeekers. But this week, instead of just saying, how would it compare the settings, or let's compare particular let's see what the prompt was. Both stories are about children facing challenges. So they was comparing the children and their challenges. So instead of just like how they're like and how they're different, this week I built the prompt on what she's currently interested in, and she's watching the TV show, the movie Descendants. Mel and Evie, different choices and different outcomes. So instead of just saying how they're like or her different, we're going to take it a step further. So it says Mel and Evie are both daughters of famous Disney villains, but they are very different in how they think, act, and respond to challenges. Let's compare and contrast Mel and Evie, how they're like, how they are different, and this is the build. How do their differences affect the choices they make throughout the movie? So she's going to use examples and evidence to support her response. So we're building on what we did last week, still comparing and contrasting, and it goes with our lesson that we are doing. So after I teach my reading lesson, she moves into writing and she'll know how to be able to tackle this writing. And we have a process for writing. For writing, she answers the prompt. We revise it on day 2. Then she types it. And we also use it for our grammar fix it. I'm going to show you how we do grammar and how the resource we use to teach that I use to teach her grammar. And then you'll be able to see how she's able to use her writing from that. So writing prompt, we identify the skill for the week, choose your child's experience, connect that experience to the reading skill, and then we write the prompt. And then I give you step by step on how to write the prompt. I know there are some people that's anti-ChatGPT and AI and all of those new tools, but the thing about those tools is I don't ask it to do anything. I tell it what I want it to do. And that's the difference on the quality that you're going to get. So if you are somebody and you're going through these steps, and like, I don't want to write the prompt, you can go in and type, give my child a prompt for a writing prompt for whatever. It's not going to break that prompt down by the level of writing that your child was on. Like, you have to be very specific on what you're telling it to do. So if you are one of those people, you can go ahead and you can just drop the whole guide into the AI, or you can copy and paste that particular whatever that skill is you're working on and the level, and then they can build it for you. So either way it goes, if you're somebody that just want to do it, it only takes me a few minutes to actually build it. Like anything else, the more you start to do it, the better it's going to get. So that's how we build our writing prompts. But I have another solution for you. I also gave an example for every skill on every level. So we're comparing and contrasting settings, themes across the text. If you wanted to write a writing prompt, this is an example of what it looks like at the basic stage, what you should include, and the criteria, the building stage, and the meaning stage. So it's all there for you, and you just plug in what you choose to use. Is it experience? Is it a movie, or whatever it is that you're using? So that's how we're going to be teaching writing. That's how I create my prompt. And I provide her some lined paper, or you can do loose leaf paper, whatever it is that you choose to do. So that's what we're doing for writing this week. So I want to go ahead and move into vocabulary. So for vocabulary, we do several things. As we are reading our text, we are looking for unknown words. She can either Google those words, and if I want her to have something independent, I work from home. So sometimes I need her to do something on her own, but we also do context clues. So if she's going through it and she gets stuck on a word, she can use context clues to identify that, because that's something I've already modeled for her. That's also in my vocabulary guide I'm going to share with you guys. Or she can just go ahead and Google the meaning of that word. She usually keeps a list, and then she'll go back later and do that. We also use the 365 words that every kid should know. So the purpose of this particular book is that each word is selected to help them to understand how it's spelled, where it comes from, and what it means. It gives examples. It's like very, very, very detailed. We do not use this for our word work unless it's a word that connects to what I'm actually trying to focus on for the week. So we use 365 words. This is something she can also do on her own. Sometimes she does it with me. The other thing we do is word work. So let me go ahead and share my vocabulary guide to show you how we do word work. I have it up. Yes, here it is. Is this it? No, that's not it. I'll just go through it. So this is what we use for word work. I have a guide that takes you through how to break down the different words. So this is the document we use. Let me share one from that she's already done. This is one that she had previously done. But we have a word of the day. We make a prediction, the part of speech, the definition in her own words. She has a sentence, real life example, word parts, and what do those word parts means, and a synonym and an anonym. So we use this for word work. This is where we are, but it also builds all the way up into if your child is middle school to high school. It builds the guide that I created builds on this. So let me give you an example of what we are doing. So for word work this week, we use the word of the day podcast. And the word for today is blandishment. So she's going to make a prediction. Now I go through this first. The same thing with the writing. You can just drop this into Google or drop it into whatever. So we go first as parents. So I'm not stumbling when she's going through the process, even though she's researching all of this on her own. She's using the computer to look up the definition, use a dictionary if you would like, but I go first. So I already went in and identified what the word. I listened to the podcast. It told me what banishment mean. It gave it to me in a sentence, because sometimes these words come up and I don't know what they mean myself. I'm like, I'm lost. So I go through it first. I put it in my own words. I have my own example sentence. I do the synonyms, the antonyms. So banishment means, I mean, not banishment, blandishment means saying something nice or to persuade someone to do something. So in addition to going through these different things, we're going to make a real life connection. We're going to be using this word blandishment throughout the week, so it can stick to her and it can become part of her vocabulary. So instead of her using words like praise or sweet talk or flattery or compliment and stuff like that, she can use the word blandishment. So that's what we're going to be doing for word work this week. Now, for social studies, we are going to be digging into the different states. So I am going to share with you what we are using. I am creating a scrapbook document. So we are starting with the United States, and we're going to do this, and we're going to break this down into sections. So we're going to start with the Northeast. And our first state we're going to focus on is Connecticut. So I'm in the process of making this a scrapbook that we can use. You do not have to use this. I'm also going to have like a parent key. So your child is going to be doing the research and doing all of the things, but I'm going to provide a key with it so you can already have all of the answers. So when you're looking up things or you're cutting out things to put it in, you can sound like you know what you're talking about, even though we may not know what we're talking about at the time. So We're going to be doing that for the 50 states. So we're going to be doing several states every week. We're also doing a little traveling this summer. So as we travel this summer, when we get to those particular states, we're gonna be able to actually live out some of these things that we're coming. So that's what we're doing for social studies. For science this week, we are heavy in the garden right now. So if you were with us last time, you know that we started with like the parts of the plant. We're talking about the plant support system. And I'm just going to go through all of the different things in the plants. We're going to watch some videos. We're going to have discussions. But the most important part is we're going to live it out in our own garden. It's going to be very hands-on. And that's what we're going to be doing for science. That's our science unit of study that I am focused on. Now I'm going to go through some of the other things. So I know I focus on reading and writing and vocabulary a lot. That is my area of expertise. That's the area that I taught. That's the area that I coached in. That's the area I can do it in my sleep. So you hear me talk about that a lot. Math, math is my daughter is strong in math. So do I do things with her, Matt? Yes, we practice by baking. We do things in the kitchen and all the different activities. But she uses eSingapore. So eSingapore, we use the online platform and it has a little video and then she moves on. And then I do some practice things with her using real life experience. That's what we use for Matt. That's all. The good thing about it is it's adaptive. She started off with an assessment. And I want to say if she was in school, she would be just finishing fourth grade, but she's already moved into fifth grade last year. So it's an adaptive thing. That's her area. That's her strong area. She does not need a lot of me in it. Yes, I do check in. We do practice whatever the skill she's working on. I try to connect that to real life as much as I can. But we use eSingapore. That's what we use for math and for grammar. I'm gonna tag all of this in the what is it called? The comments or in the caption. And for grammar, we use Fix It Grammar. So Fix It Grammar is teaching grammar through Fix-Its. It's not an isolation where it's just saying, today we're learning verbs, today we're learning nouns, today we're learning it. It's actually each level is actually one story and it has vocabulary built in, just like simple vocabulary, not like deep level vocabulary. But as she's going through the story, I introduce like a skill to her and then it builds as it goes. So she's learning grammar by fixing sentences. So going back to what I was talking about with the writing, when she finishes her writing and after she types it and everything like that, then we use this for her Fix It Grammar activity as well. So anytime she's writing, she's practicing that. So that's what we use for grammar. And that's about it. Oh my God. Last but not least, we also do Bible study. We do Bible study. We use this as a read aloud. This is her Bible. We go through this. This is also, especially when you're in those Bibles, when you're going through like the certain Bible stories and stuff like that, it's a good time to bring into that reading skill, whatever you're working on. But we also treat this as a read aloud. So, and we also memorize a scripture every week. So that's the things that we are doing. This is all for next week. I am going to try to capture as much as I can and share our experiences. Homeschool is a place where I know like it's building a very strong connection between me and my daughter. So I try not to like always have a camera on. So most days I'm not videoing. So that's why you make it like bits and pieces and I'll just do a voiceover or something like that. Because I do want to keep that moment in this experience sacred. I don't want her to, get older and I say, how was your homeschool experience? She's like, oh, we're always videoing and stuff like that. So I do try to video as much as I can without taking away from the relationship that we have and the experiences that we do like during homeschool. So I will post as much as I can on this live, but come plan with us. We plan every Friday. It's right now is a small group of us that come together and plan and ask your questions and all of those different things. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording. If you have any questions for me, we're going to go ahead and discuss that. But anybody else, if you're watching this as a replay, Drop those questions in the comments, and then I'll make a video just answering everybody's questions. So